Taylor Swift, get me some tickets to a Chief game, particularly Chiefs versus the Bears. Make it happen. Make it happen, Taylor. Talk to your boyfriend. I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
Oh, yeah!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I want you to shake it off. Shake it off. That is the only song I know. And before we even start, I would like to make a treaty or a plea to all the Swifties that ran into this channel. One, welcome. This is called Coding with Strangers. I don't know your trials and tribulations about trying to get tickets and things of that nature, but I do like music, and I've been to concerts before, and I know how great it is to see your favorite performer perform live. So I definitely empathize with how you guys felt with not being able to get tickets back when the Eras tours went on. I am a big fan of Taylor Swift being shown up to 50 times during any Chiefs game. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelce, is a reasonable person. His 2-year extension on his contract might be a little bit overhyped, but good for them, good for him, With all those pleasantries out of the way, I hope you enjoy this show, and I know you guys have extreme power to force the U.S. government to sue something that they did, but we'll get into that. You guys account for 5% of the GDP last year in the United States, so you guys are powerful, and you're putting your money where your mouth is. But without going. Before we head into the articles, it can't go unstated how truly annoying this is. Concert tickets that were deliberately sold to secondhand sellers that eventually went out to upcharge them by 700%. We're talking about middle-income families who have children who want to go to this concert and couldn't go unsupervised. So you're thinking about literally paying up to, when I looked at some of these prices, up to $15,000 for 3 people. That's unnecessary. And I've said this in the past, and I'll continue to say again. Greed has a chokehold on America, and it's because of capitalism. It's not enough to just get what you're owed. You gotta beat someone over the head with it. And greed is one of those inhumane sins that will truly have me coming out of this is something that'll get me out of my seat and riled up and want to fight someone over. Because when is enough enough? As a person who's lived in a world, I've lived in a world where people didn't value money. And I've lived in a world where you wasn't eating ramen noodles every night. You was eating half a pack of ramen noodles every night. So that means you had to cut the bag of seasoning in half to save it for the other half later. And God forbid you wake up and you try and open that package up and you open it up the wrong way. You eating plain noodles, you feel me? You don't know nothing about no plain noodles, all right? We talking about having cereal. He talking about hard times. We talking about having cereal with ice, water and ice. The ice is seasoning. The ice is seasoning. But above all else, to truly take advantage of someone who just wants to enjoy an experience. I tell this story often. It was when I was living in New York. I signed up to get tickets to go see a rap artist that was unknown at the time, not unknown to the people buying the tickets, and I just happened to find out last minute that the artist was going to be Jay-Z, which my mind was blown because I paid $40 for the tickets. Little did I know, not only was it Jay-Z, it would also be Linkin Park, because they would be debuting Collision Course, which is one of my favorite albums. And as a person of the 2007s, mashup music was my theme song. So these experiences wouldn't be possible. Those experiences aren't possible right now because artists can't control their schedules. And it's crazy. It's crazy how they've have this in the chokehold. But when you find out how this happened, you're gonna think twice. But let's talk about it, right? Let's get the brass tacks out of the way. Ticketmaster antitrust lawsuit could give new hope to ticketing startups. The United States Department of Justice and 30 states' attorney general filed a lawsuit against Live Nation Entertainment, the parent company of Ticketmaster, for alleged monopolistic practices. Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged in 2010, creating a dominant entertainment machine that controls the majority of ticket sales and venues booking in the country. But Taylor Swift fans experience buying tickets for the Eras Tour in late 2022 was so horrific, legislators took a closer look at the entertainment giant control over the industry. And I'll say this one more time. Watching the video, I thought for sure I was gonna get a good laugh out of watching people cry about not getting tickets. And there was this grown woman. I was in my back of my mind. I started to chuckle, and she's in tears. She's filming herself 6 hours of trying to buy Eras Tour tickets, and I'm just like, who would waste 6 hours of their life? She said, was talking about how she took off from work, this, that, and she doesn't get the tickets, and she's on the ground in tears. And it dawned on me that she was buying those tickets as a gift for her daughters. And when her daughters came home and saw how physically drained she was and how physically defeated she was, with tears in their eyes, lying to their mother, saying, "Mom, we don't want to go anymore." Could you imagine, as a self-centered, pretentious ass, punk ass kid, you have enough wherewithal to come home and see your parent a shell of themselves, and you're like, "Oh my God, okay, it's okay. We don't want the tickets anymore." That video kind of changed my mind on this. It really shifted the parameters, because it's out of mind, out of sight, right? I don't see these problems, but what wouldn't you do for your kid? What wouldn't you do for your kid, right? Live Nation suffocates its competition by using a variety of tactics, from equestrian of smaller regional promoters and venues to threats and retaliation to agreements with rivals, as the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, in a press conference on Thursday, said, "This isn't just a Swifties problem." Shout out Swifties, clap it. Rather, the pop star culture ubiquity shed a bright spotlight on the frustration people have with Live Nation Ticketmaster. From punk bands, to podcast hosts, poor experiences with Ticketmaster have made the company loathsome to fans. In April, when the Dungeons and Dragons actually plays, some Dimension 20 pop-up tickets on sale for its performance at Madison Square Garden, Ticketmaster dynamic pricing structure made the tickets prices so astronomically high that they were unattainable for most fans. Dropout, the company that produces Dimension 20, later stated that dynamic pricing, which automatically increases the prices of ticket based on the demand, was not explained to them before ticket sales. If a breakup were to occur, it could also pave the way for other ticketing startups to gain traction in the industry, where they now face an uphill battle when going against the Ticketmaster that's led businesses in spaces trying to disrupt the current system by building a new one, like the blockchain, for example. That is not a good example. Or maybe focusing on the secondary market, which would probably be the best thing. Peer-to-peer selling without the involvement of Ticketmaster would solve this in a heartbeat. This is the equivalent of, "Oh man, I got tickets to this show. I can't go anymore. This is the price that I paid for them. This is how much I'm willing to offer them." Whatever website is hosting those tickets gets the thing. This is this goes away the way of, I believe, like all those secondhand sale shops, like Facebook Marketplace. There's literally Facebook Marketplaces where, hey, if you come pick it up, it's yours. It's free. Come pick it up. It's yours. That would solve this in a heartbeat. The complaint, and even more so the press conference announcing it, attempts to portray Live Nation and Ticketmaster as a case of fan frustration with the live entertainment industry. The statement says it blames the concert promoters and ticketing companies, neither of which control ticket price. Oof, get 'em, Garland. For high ticket prices, it ignores everything that is actually responsible for the higher ticket prices, and from increasing the production cost of the artist's popularity to 24/7 online ticket scalping that reveals the public willingness to pay far more than primary tickets cost. Wall goes on to compare Ticketmaster's 5% take rate with the company's live, like Twitch 50%. Ooh, Twitch. Oh my goodness. Damn, Twitch. They looking at you. They called you out first. Shit. 50% split, StubHub's 37 and Uber's 25, and several more. But with the exception of StubHub, a resale platform, the comparisons are not quite one-to-one. Ticketmaster also charges a various kinds of service fees which exceed 5%. That's where they really get you. Ticketmaster says, oh, we only take 5%. But then when you get the pricing at the end of it all, that's when they show you that your $40 ticket came with fees upwards of $90. And that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part, that the fees will cost you more than anything else. The fact remains that it is difficult for younger companies to disrupt Live Nation's hold on the industry, since the vast majority of American venues are in a business with them. Garland claims that the public frustration with Live Nation alleged monopolistic behavior is more acute to America than in other countries. In other countries where venues are not bound by Ticketmaster exclusive ticket contracts, venues often use multiple ticketing companies for the same event, and fans see lower fees and more innovating ticketing products as a result, Garland said. Now, this is all fine and dandy. Good on them. Good on America saying, hey, capitalism isn't all it's pumped up to be. But you want to know something? They mentioned it in the article in 2010. Live Nation, Ticketmaster decided to merge. Congress asked the Justice Department to block Live Nation Ticketmaster merger. You see how we rake step in this country? It is so painful to see how inept our country is, because if you live long enough in this country, you'll see capitalism eat itself. Here we are, 2009, 12 o'clock, July 6th. Congress, a group of people are realizing that, hey, you know what, this merger, this deal, this acquisition, it's not probably going to do the best for people. But what they go on to mention in this article is the $13 million of lobbying that went in to making sure this deal passed in. And all those people in Congress, I was able to count up about 7 of them who voted for it. I mean, not Congress, in Congress, who allowed this to pass, this merger to happen. They're not here anymore. They're not, I don't know if they're dead or anything, but they're not in Congress anymore. So they got their payout and they bounced. And they suffer none of the consequences. Fast forward to today, we're suffering the consequences. But all of this, for what it's worth, doesn't happen until Taylor Swift comes into the realm of the situation. So I have to give my the roses to her and her fans. Beyonce as well, who also had a big tour that was a disaster for Ticketmaster. But this kind of goes to show you that platforms are everything. And while I don't think celebrities should use their platforms to talk about everything, I think there was this thing that was happening recently where people were adding people to block lists because they hadn't said something about 50 generation war that most people are oblivious to, but are kind of coming to an understanding of what's going on. Yeah, I don't think all celebrities should have to be able to speak on that just there on the red carpet. I think there's a level of nuance that goes into it, but this is well within her right, well within her industry, dare I say her playground. She should know, understand, and be able to manipulate these venues. There's no venue in the world that should ever have someone like Taylor Swift reconsidering how she's going to run her tour. Every venue, every platform should be throwing themselves at her feet. And there needs to be a power dynamic there, sure enough. But if in a situation where you're trying to optimize the most money you can to to squeeze out people who have a genuine. I mean, it's business 101. I can't knock them for doing it, but this doesn't happen if, back to the article, we don't rake step in the beginning. So it's important to think about the people that we have in office, the people we're voting for. I know you probably, when you're voting, you probably don't think, I wonder how this congressperson, state representative, what are their thoughts on ticketing prices? That probably doesn't come to mind, probably doesn't come to question. But if you were a mom sitting on the ground crying because you are having a mental breakdown and spent $30,000 trying in credit card fees trying to buy a pair of tickets that you couldn't gain access to, you would probably start thinking about it too. But that's just my perspective on it. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Clap it. Let me know. What's your favorite Taylor Swift song? Like, share, and subscribe. You guys know about my Patreon? Should hit that shit.